this. So if you guys are watching this right now, whether you are live or watching the replay, in today's video, this stream and this live overall is going to be showing you how to have your first 1K day trading options. I'll show you guys some proof, obviously, so you understand, you know, hey, if I'm teaching it, obviously I have to have some type of receipts behind it, right? But this is really going to just go a little bit more in depth on how you guys can do it and the right and wrong ways to go about it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and open up the charts. We got the charts open. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our live chat over here, and we'll go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Okay, so one of the things I want to show you guys is how much more often we've actually been having people have their first 1K day. So let's actually come over here, and I'm gonna scroll up. So shout out to my good brother Eddie right here. He basically just said, this was earlier today, I'm a part of the 1K a day club now, so first $1,000 a day. If I continue scrolling up, you guys will see even more as well. Give me 1 second, let me log in over here. 52342. Bam. All right, cool. We should have this up right now. Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So with that being said, right now you guys are seeing Eddie right here having his first 1K day. However, so we had the weekend, and then if I keep scrolling up, so this is inside of our Discord chat. So these are some trades. What day is this? This should be on Friday, right? 123%. No, this is all today still. 100%. Okay, so let's keep going. Let me actually type in first 1K day. So first off, as you guys can see right here, Saeed was one of the first people who had their first 1K day more recently, right? So shout out to Saeed. He did $1,500 in a day. Then we also had Miguel, who had his first 1K day as well. So if I come over here and I actually tap on the message itself, you guys will see. Let's come over here. So right here, just hit my first 1K day. So this is Miguel, this is Saeed, and then you also have Eddie, which is the most recent one right here. So, you know, obviously one of the things before you start learning anything is you want to know, hey, does this work and how can it work, right? So one of the things that you got to really look at when you're trying to make your first 1K day or try to have your first 1K day is you got to really look at the risk management overall. How much are you risking? You know what I'm saying? How much are you risking to make, you know, the 1K that you're trying to make? So let me move this over here real quick as well. And then let's make sure the chat is good to go. All right. So how much are you risking, right? So one of the biggest things that we talk about is sizing our trades for zero. Now, one of the things I do know is that it's not as common for people to do this as far as sizing for a zero. Now, a lot of people in the trading space are going to be like, nah, bro, you don't need to do that and all that stuff. And the crazy part is, like, you know, I get it. You know, there's different forms or different ways to trade. However, you got to respect that there's sometimes things that work for other people that may not work for you in specific, right? So in this scenario, I want to kind of talk about the risk management that we teach inside of the Discord. So one of the things that I want to talk about is sizing for zero. So one of the biggest issues, a lot of you who are watching this, if you're already trading, is you're probably blowing accounts, okay? And the reason you're blowing your account or losing more than you anticipated is because you are sizing too much into your trades. So what do I mean by that, right? You're going into a trade with more capital trying to make more money, right? And even if you have a really good setup, that does not mean that the setup is going to play out, right? So take this into consideration. Most people trade with $1,000 right? They're going into the trade with $1,000, and most people trade with a stop loss. So they'll have a 30% stop loss, and they'll say, you know what? When this trade hits 30%, I want it to take me completely out of the trade, right? Now, granted, this has been the normal way that majority of people have been trading, right? But one of the things that you got to take into consideration is how quickly you're getting taken out of the trades. Give me 1 second, guys. So one of the things you have to take into consideration is how often people are getting stopped out of their trades, right? So the reason I say all this and the reason it's so important, right, is because a lot of our trades, we're either trading same day contracts or same week contracts. And when you're trading weeklies or daily contracts, these contracts can expire very quickly. So if you look at this trade that we have right here that we ended up taking earlier today, there was 2 different trades that you could have taken. We talked about this on a recent live, so make sure you guys are tapping into the lives. Make sure you guys hit the follow button so you don't miss these lives, so you kind of learn a little bit bit more, and you can kind of come back and say, yo, I executed this, but I need to work on this. And, you know, you kind of get that assistance from these free lives. So what was the trade today, right? So right here on IWM, if you guys don't know the strat, this is why I'm going to be building a PDF kind of explaining the strat, 1s, 2s, 3s. You guys can pretty much have it for free, so you can utilize it. When I do have it, I'll just start talking about it, and you guys can just grab it for free. All right. So one of the things that IWM likes to do is a 3-bar. So if you trade the strat, you already know what a 3-bar is. A 3-bar is a volatility candle. When you're trading the strat, it is always based off the previous candle. So the 3-bar is when the recent candle, right? So this candle here breaks the recent candle's high and low. Thank you guys for the roses. Macchio, appreciate you for the gifted. What you're doing is you're looking at this 3-bar, and you're actually reading this candle based off this candle. So when it breaks this high and the low, this is a 3-bar. So my trade today that I took on IWM was this trade right here, right? So let's go. I'm on a 15-minute time frame. So for those of you guys who are wondering, this is on the 15-minute time frame. So basically what I did is I took a 3-2 setup, right? So basically, what does this mean? After about 9:45, right, this candle here printed, right? Once this candle here broke above the 3-bar, creating a 3-2, it is a continuation setup per the strat. Once this broke, I took calls. My target was this most recent high at 224.02, and then my second target was at 224.22. So I closed out of this trade a little over 28%, 29%, nothing crazy. By all means, there's plenty of other trades that could have done a little bit better or a lot better, right? 30%, you know, is a base hit. You know, at the end of the day, I was going in, executing, taking my base hits, going about my day, right? So one of the things I want to talk about, right, is when you're sizing for zero, right? So most people go into this trade, right, and they say, yo, you know, if I get down 30%, I'm done for the day, right? So here's the thing. Let's say you took puts, okay? This is the perfect scenario for you to look at, right? And this is how we grow accounts from small accounts. It doesn't matter if you have a $200 account, if you have a $500 account, if you have a $10,000 account. This is probably one of the best ways to grow your account without crashing out, right? This is literally one of the best ways is you go into the trade with the amount of money you're okay with losing. So let's just say you got faked out, right? Let's say you took puts here. Well, look, when this candlestick pushes back up through opening print or through the opening price, right? What happens is you get stopped out immediately, because on same day contracts on IWM, just as quickly as you can go up 20%, in about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, you can go down 20%, down 30%. And now you're stopped out of the trade just for the trade to later in the day come back in your favor. It came back from the dead. And that's what I'll talk about a lot inside of my Discord community is like, hey, you might take a trade, right? And it might take a few hours for the trade to play out, but when it comes back and you're not closing red, right? So when you're looking at this, right, although I took calls, let's just say you took puts. Well, look, you had the momentum move to the upside. You had a break in structure here, right? And then one thing you can notice is we started consolidating in the middle of the day, okay? So I sold my contracts into this candle here as we started getting this liquidity grab or liquidity sweep, which is basically an influx of orders sweeping back to the opposite direction, right? And then one thing you can start noticing is that you start having these equal highs. So you have this high here, you have this high here, you have this high here. And then as you can see, you're starting to come back down, right? It's starting to curl. That buyer's momentum started losing control, or the buyer started losing control, right? And it gave you another setup, right? A 3-bar. So look at this. Notice how when it gave you the 3, okay, it came back down and it continued. So remember, on a 3-bar, 3s like to continue. They like to go 3-2. So this is the exact scenario that you had. So you had a 3-2 down, right? And it broke under the VWAP, which is just another level of support and resistance, just like another floor or a ceiling for price to bounce or reject from, right? So when price broke under, right, and it created this 3-2, right, you take the entry right here, right? So let me remove all these other lines as well, just so you guys aren't confused. This is from earlier's pre-market call. So your entry, when you're looking at the strat and you're trading the strat, is right here. This candle prints, next candle opens, it tries to push up, it swings back through. Once this candle turns red and it gives you a 2 down, you take the signal, you take the entry, right? So you're taking your puts. But like I said, most people are blowing accounts or taking the wrong trades, because let's say you took puts back here and you got stopped out on this move right here. because we size for zero, and I'm gonna go back to my example of sizing for zero, right? Where I'll go into the trade with an amount of money I'm okay with losing based off what my account size is. So basically somebody else might go in and not, like I said, they'll have $1,000 and they'll risk 30%. So they're okay with losing $300. They want to get stopped out the trade when they're down $300. Well, me, I'll go into this trade with $300 total and I'll let the trade play out. So even if I'm down 40, 50, 60% right here, that's fine because I size my trade for zero. But what I'm doing is I'm giving myself an opportunity for the trade to come back. And that's the key element that a lot of people forget about, is that when you size for zero, you give yourself the full amount of the expiration of the contract. So if your contract expires today, you give yourself not just 15 minutes and then you get stopped out. You give yourself the entire day for the trade to come back. So now if you're down 40, 50, 60%, right? And you have, let's say, you go 223, puts when you took this entry here and you said, all right, I'm gonna go puts. You grab 223s. Well, look, your contracts are deep in the money. Price came all the way to a low of 221. Right? So now you gave yourself an opportunity. And this is why sometimes, a lot of people, I really don't know why people don't talk about it as much. To be honest, I think it's something that people are starting to talk about a lot more, right? Like shout out to Elite Options, shout out to JR Greatness, shout out to, the few traders that do talk about sizing for zero. But it has been the single-handedly best thing that has helped me avoid majority of the emotions that come into trading. A lot of times what will happen is you'll have all these emotions ramped up and you're making emotional decisions when you're in a trade because you have too much money on the line. For me personally, I don't like to feel like that, right? And granted, you're gonna have to learn how to deal with that anyways, but me, I like trading knowing that this is my max amount, right? This is the amount of money this is the total amount of money I can lose on this trade. Now, this brings me to another point, which is something called slippage, right? How many of you have set a stop loss before and then the trade, the trade goes, right? And it pulls back and then you don't get stopped out of your trade. And now you take a bigger loss than you were expected. How many of you have dealt with that? I know I've dealt with it before, right? So one of the things that a lot of people don't consider when you use stop losses is slippage. And basically this is when price makes a quick move past your stop loss and you don't get filled. So remember, you're placing orders when you're trading options, right? So let me kind of dumb everything down, right? When you place a call or when you place a put, you're placing in an order. When you place a stop loss or when you place a take profit, you're placing an order. You're telling the market to get me in here, get me out here. And what happens is if price is very volatile, let's say Trump puts out a tweet and the market just sinks, it's possible that because you're telling the market or you're telling your brokerage to get you out here at this bid price or at this ask price, whichever one, it's possible that price could leap over your bid and your spread or your overall spread and you just don't get filled. And now you're down. You say you were going to take a 30% loss, but now you blink, the market popped, and now you're down 50, 60, 70%. And now you're about to pass out. You're about to crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're down more than you were expected to be down. And this is where a lot of people, like, they just don't talk about this. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know why people don't talk about it. Like when I first dealt with it, I said, nah, I can't. I don't want to have any scenarios like this where I'm in heavy on size. I have a 30% stop loss, but then I don't get filled. I don't want to deal with that type of issue. So what I told myself is there has to be another way. And that's when I paid for mentorships. I paid for groups and I watched podcast interviews and I learned from people who say, yo, size your trades for zero. Because let's say it is slippage. Well, you don't care because you're already into the trade with the amount of money that you're okay with losing. Does that make sense? If you guys are on YouTube or if you guys are on Instagram, if that makes sense, comment yes down below. If that makes sense, right? So think about it from this perspective. You're going in, and regardless of what goes on in the market, you're already in for zero, right? It either goes your way or it doesn't go your way. And it really simplifies trading a lot more because now when you think about it like that, right? Now you can just look at it and say, yo, this thing either works or it doesn't work. And for a lot of people, I think that's a more simple way for them to be able to trade. It's like, yo, I don't want to deal with slippage. I don't want to deal with any issues that could possibly occur. Does that make sense? Drop a yes in the chat if that made sense. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to people on Twitch. We streaming across all platforms. Just going over different examples, things that can help you. You know what I'm saying? If you guys have questions, please drop them down below. Okay. So this whole live stream and this whole just stream in general is about how to make your first 1K day, how to have your first 1K day, right? Now, the next thing is, you trade the strat. Yes. Shout out to everybody who trade the strat. The next thing is, you know, where I look for my time frames, or where I look for my entries at. Okay. So another thing that I look at is obviously your risk management, right? So you size your trades for 0, okay? But a lot of times when you're sizing your trades for 0, you want to be realistic with your actual time frame that you're taking your entries on. So this is a question that I get pretty often. It's like, yo, Tez, you know, where do you get your time frame, or where do you get your entries, right? So throughout the day, when the market is open, when 9:30 hits, I have multiple charts up, right? I'll have a 30-minute, I'll have a 15-minute, I'll have a 1 hour, and I'll have a 2 hour. Because I need to see all of the different time frames. I need to see the pictures, right? So I have more respect for the higher time frame setups than I do the lower time frame, because it's just more noise, right? Just picture it like that, right? So let's look at this example on IWM. So again, we took this trade today, right? And I closed out at 30%. There's a few other traders, so I'll show you guys inside of our Discord group, right? If we close this out, and if you guys are watching on YouTube, the reason I have this shrunken like this is because they can only see one side of this. But if we scroll up, right, $380 trading IWM, you know, 70%, so he made $385 today trading SoFi. Shout out to Eddie again, had his first $1,000 day. Eddie again caught IWM for 50%. $43 opened up a position on XYZ. IWM 30%. So like, we trade these things very often, right? So let me go back to the chart now. So one of the things that you can look at if you're really trying to be consistent and really compound your account and have your first 1K day is the tickers that you're trading. Are you trading something that can move? So the thing is with IWM is the contracts can move sporadically, right? What I mean by that, not only the contracts very cheap, right, but they move very quickly and they move a lot. So for these types of contracts, what's your Twitch? It's Dantes Akram, or it's actually _real Tez. So yeah. But like I said, so when you're looking at the ticker, right, when you're looking at something like IWM, is this something that can move? Yes. So if you're trying to have your first 1K day, you want to trade something that can really move. You want to trade something where your contracts can go 200, 300, 400%. Because think about it, if you have $300 that you put on a trade and you're sizing for 0, and then the trade goes 300%, well, you just turn $300 into $900, right? That's the overall premise of how it works when it comes to having your first 1K day, which is those higher percentage returns. The next thing is, like I said, the time frame that you're taking the trade on, right? So when you come over here and you look at IWM, right? Well, let's look at the different types of setups that it gave you, right? So on the 30-minute time frame here on IWM, you had this 3-bar up, and then you had a 2 continuation. And then it gave you one of my favorite setups of all time, which is 2 back-to-back consolidation candles. So this is a 1-bar. A 1-bar is basically consolidation, right? So it gave you a 1 and a 1, and then it broke to the downside. When this consolidation happens, the next move tends to be explosive. So when it did explode, it was a momentum move, which is why you see a break on Monday's highs, push off. And what do? A lot of traders trade retests, right? So a lot of traders may have taken this trade today off of a break and retest. This is exactly what this is. This is a break, retest, chop, sold right back off. And then you came down to what? A daily VWAP. Well, how do I know this? Because I marked it off. I had this marked off earlier today, right? We came right back down to a daily VWAP. So that was your next target, right? So this is a 30-minute setup. This is the 30-minute Zug. So this is the 30-minute. Now watch this. You go up to the 1 hour time frame, right? Well, on the 1 hour time frame, you have a 2-2 reversal. So I'm gonna grab this, right? So this is the high and this is the low. Well, look, this candle here, let's go ahead and open this up. This candle right here breaks below the recent candle, which is your entry. You take the entry and look at this. Price comes up, retests the VWAP, and then it sells back through. Once it breaks through Monday's highs, you could have looked at that as an entry as well. But one of the things I'm talking about now with having your first 1K day is, like I said, the time frames that you're taking the trades on, right? So if you look at this is a Strat setup. This is why I love trading the Strat, right? The Strat teaches you how to find cleaner entries, right? Like and here's the thing, I'll never knock anyone else's strategy. If you trade supply and demand, that's how I started off, right? If you trade support and resistance, you trade ICT, you trade all those things, that's cool. But if you're the type of person who's watching this right now and you have difficulty understanding what price action is, or how to read it on a chart, or how to read what these candlesticks are saying to you, the Strat is definitely going to be one of those things that I personally feel like if you're not like the smartest person in the world, if you learn the Strat, you'll feel way better about trading in general and looking at a chart. I get it. Some people might say it looks messy, or you don't need all that stuff, and that's cool. Whatever works for you works for you. I'm not here to be the best person in the world. I'm just here to give you some free game with the hopes that you can execute tomorrow. That's it, literally, right? So look, you get a 2-2 reversal. This is the trade. When it triggers, because this is a Strat setup, this is a reversal, right? You take the break. Once you see it retest the VWAP, right, and it breaks back through, you could have taken that entry if you're not confident in just taking it right out the gate. It depends on how risk averse you are, right? I trade ICT. Shout out to 917 Flex. That's lit, bro. So another thing, right? This breaks through Monday's highs. It's the same setup that we just seen on the 30-minute. It's just on a higher time frame. So do you guys see how it looks cleaner? Are we kind of noticing how it looks a little bit cleaner than the 30-minute, right? So look at the 30-minute. Now, granted, this looks pretty clean. I'm not going to lie to you, right? But on the 1 hour, it's just less noise. When you go up in time frames, you're looking at less and less noise. That's basically what you're doing when you go up in time frames. It's less noise. It's a cleaner picture that you can, look at. All right, comment yes down below if that makes sense. All right. So another setup, right, is called a 2-1-2. Right? So you had the reversal, you had a breakthrough Monday's highs, you had a retest of Monday's highs. This is a consolidation candle. So on a 1 bar, this is what this is called. This is a consolidation candlestick, also known as a 1 bar. Right? So let's go ahead and delete this. Let's delete this, and let's delete that. Boom. This 1 bar right here is an actionable signal. So if you never traded the Strat, right? What up, Caleb? What's going on, bro? What's your strategy? I trade the Strat and smart money concepts, which is order blocks and fair value gaps and all that good stuff. Very similar to ICT. I wouldn't say very, but close enough. So here, right, a 2-1-2, okay? 2-1-2, this is a Strat setup. So again, when you're on a higher time frame, these pictures are so much cleaner because guess what? This is at what time? Let's take a look. This is at 1 p.m. Right? This is at 1 p.m. So when this 1 p.m. candle prints, when this next candle opens at 2 p.m. and it breaks below, this is your entry. Once it breaks below this 1 bar, right, it triggers, and look how it continues to your VWAP on the daily time frame. Now let's go up another time frame, right? Let's go up to another one. All the lingo makes my head spin. I'm very new to options. It's perfectly fine, Josh. If you keep coming back to the streams, and I can explain more as I go on because I'm recording across all streams, all platforms as well. But I can explain it more. So if you just drop a question down below, you know what I'm saying, I can definitely clear it up for you. I'll do my best to kind of simplify it as well because a lot of you guys are a little bit newer as well. So look at this. Now look, the setups are the setups. You know what I'm saying? Like it's if you trade one ticker and you get great at just trading one ticker, I'm telling you, like you gotta take my word for it. If you trade one ticker and you just do it consistently and you understand the character traits, you understand the personality and how that ticker moves, you'll have a lot better time trading and a more profitable time trading rather than looking at 60 different things. What indicator are you using with the numbers? So this is called Strat Assistant. So if you come up here to the indicator section and you type in Strat, it's called Strat Assistant by Ricky Z. Carroll. By Ricky Z. Carroll. Okay. So now let's look up to a higher time frame, right? Let's go up to an even higher time frame. So right now we're on the 2 hour time frame, okay? Right now we are on the 2 hour time frame. So watch this. On the 2-hour time frame on IWM, it gave you a failed 2-up. Thanks, I was using the other one. Oh yeah, I like this one a lot, me personally. So on this setup, right, on the 2-hour time frame, I only trade ES and NQ. I trade options, majority options. So look at this. This is a failed 2. So remember, if y'all were in my live not too long ago when I was talking about failed 2s, a failed 2-up is where you fake out bulls, right? So you broke higher, right? So this candle, the market opened, it pushed higher, and then it faked them out, and then it swung back through. This is showing you that sellers are now in control. The bears are now in control, right? So on a failed 2-up, this is a fake out on bulls. Which direction is it going in? To the downside, because bears are in control. Failed 2-up would be those 2s between the 3, right? The failed 2-up would be this 2 right here. So let's turn off this order blocks real quick. Let's turn off Lux Algo. So a failed 2-up is a green candle with red around it. That is a failed 2-up, because this is actually a red candle. It broke higher, it was green at first, and then it turned red. So that's a better and easier way to put it. It was green at first, and now it's red. It just has red around it, so you know it's a failed 2-up. At one point in time, it was green, now it's red. That's why it's red around it. Is this trading view? Yes. So look at this. This is the same exact setup, just on a higher time frame, right? So now on a higher time frame, look what you have. You have a failed 2-up. You take your puts. When this line is broken, you take the puts under 223.61. And then how do I mark my targets, right? So this is, again, if you want to have your first 1K day, I think that having targets will definitely help you, in my personal opinion. Other people may think otherwise. I'm just telling you what works for me. So how do I find my targets? I look left. So this right here, this wick, I'm using this as a target. So this is target 1, right? Where's my next target? This is target 2. The bottom of this body, right? This is target 2. Where's my next target? Right here. This is target 3. And then this is a gap fill. So all the way down here, there's a gap that hasn't been filled yet. So price likes to balance itself out on a chart. It'll come down and fill that what is it called? It'll come down and it'll fill the gap. Right? Yo, it's crazy. I just got my first follower on Twitch. God, thank you. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Shout out to King Alexis, my first Twitch follower. That's lit, man. That is lit, yo. I'm not gonna lie. That's hella lit. Yeah, streaming across all platforms is pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, cool. Let me get back to what I was doing. All right. So these are my targets, right? About to follow you now. Oh shit, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate it. I'm just here to just give y'all some free game. So look, right? Excuse me. And then let me do this. Let me drag this over here. Oops, let's not do that. Let's grab this and let's grab that and put it right there. Bam. That'll be a little cleaner for these are my targets. So do you guys kind of understand how you get your targets? This is options. Yes, this is options trading. Best time frame to take the trade? That's a great question. So, or even the 2-hour, so, or a 3-bar, or a failed 2 on a 6-hour or on a 4-hour. Well, I'll just stick with the 1-hour throughout the day, because the 1-hour will give you clean setups, or even the 2-hour. Because look at this. This is a 2-hour setup. Right here, failed 2-up. It breaks. Target 1 hit. Target 2 hit. Target 3, and you just let runners go. And notice how, look, you come back down. And where do you come to? These wicks down here. Does it not come down here to the T and then push back off? Right? So this is how I find my targets. Drop a yes in the chat if this makes sense. So you now know how to find your targets. So the first element that we talked about is sizing your trades for 0. The second thing we talked about is the type of tickers that you want to trade that can actually move. Your contracts can move, right? The third thing we talked about is having targets and what time frames you're taking your trades on. Okay. Also, for all of you guys who are coming in on TikTok and you guys want to watch this back, this is all being recorded on YouTube as well. So you can feel free to go over to my YouTube and you can rewatch the whole thing. The link is in my bio for my YouTube. Do you re-explain every live because I'm confused? Not really, but this one is streamed on YouTube, so you guys can always go back and rewatch it now. I decided to stream on YouTube and Twitch just to make it so much easier for y'all, because I have 23 people on YouTube, and then I got a few hundred people. How many people do I have on TikTok right now, y'all? I don't know how many people I have on TikTok, but I have a good amount of people on TikTok, and then I have my first few people ever on Twitch. So 115 on TikTok. Okay, cool. What's the Twitch? It's just _realtez. So yeah, I'm just streaming across all of them, so y'all have an easier way to be able to watch me on whatever platform you like the most. Okay. Here's another thing, right? So I kind of want to show you guys this, because you know it's important to me that you guys are learning from people who are doing it. So like this month we're at $58,000 on this portfolio. This is one of my accounts. So yo, Ria, I appreciate the follow. Thank you so much. I appreciate the follow. It's crazy getting my first followers on Twitch. I feel like a streamer. Clouded2K, what's up, man? I appreciate the follows. Yo, Low Gaming, thank you for the follow, man. Oh shit, I feel like somebody call Kai, man. I need a Twitch deal, man. Hey, Kai, I need a deal, bro. Got my first 4 Twitch followers, bro. But yeah, this account right here is at 58,000. Tats by JR, appreciate you for the follow, yo. I appreciate it. But yeah, so again, when you guys are learning anything, you want to learn from someone who's actually doing the thing. So everything that I'm showing y'all right now is just stuff that I found that has worked for me. He said, not Kai. Can you draw a gap? Yeah, sure. All right, so this is a indicator that I use. Excuse me. It's called it's called Lux Algo. And the really cool thing about Lux Algo, shout out to JR, he put me on. The cool thing about Lux Algo is it'll mark out the gap fill. So when it's a red gap, so let's remove all these lines. When there's a red gap like this, you mark out the top half, right? So this is an open space that the sellers had control in. So that means the buyers have to fill that gap at some point in time. So you mark out the higher part of the gap. When there's a green gap like this means that the buyers and bulls were in control. So sellers have to take out this side of the gap like that. Did you take a trade on IWM? Yeah. It wasn't a crazy trade, to be completely honest. I closed out at like 24%, 25%. But a few of my members, I was just showing y'all in a Discord group, a few of them closed out at like 100%. But that was on this reversal. I took the move up, right? So this break right here, this is also a signal, right? Look at this. This is a 3-bar. When a candle breaks a 3-bar to the upside, you could take it going 3-2. This was my entry. I took 23%, scalped it. I was done. I had to take my daughter to the gym and I had to go run my mile for not listening to my trading plan recently last week. So, you know, had to go do that. Y'all, I appreciate all the new follows on Twitch, y'all. I appreciate y'all, yo. It's insane. It's insane. Okay, cool. Just making sure that's good. All right, are you talking about fair value gaps? Yes, this is very similar to fair value gaps. I don't use fair value gaps to the same way that everyone else uses them. I just mark out the gaps. Yes, luxalgo.com. That's where you where you can find the indicator itself. That's where you can find it. All right. So again, back to what I was talking about with having your first 1K day, right? Lux Algo is clutch, though. I gotta say it is very clutch, right? So let's delete these off, right? Love the content. One more time with that indicator you're using, if you don't mind. Appreciate that. Inevitable. It's called Lux Algo. LUXALGO. This is on TradingView. Yes. You gotta buy that subscription though. That one is you gotta buy it. I don't have any affiliation or nothing. So like, if you like it, you gotta pay for it. I don't have no discounts. It's not my software, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Yo, how we not at 5K likes already? Let's get to 5K likes, y'all. Give me the 5K likes on TikTok. Let's get it. So yes, this is what's your YouTube? It's Dantes Akram. It's my first and last name. So if you go up to the 4-hour time frame, look at this setup, right? Crazy how this is just the same setups. So are you guys kind of seeing why higher time frames could be more important for you? Like, I take my entries off higher time frames. So let's look at this. This is another failed 2 up. right? This is a failed two up. Price broke above, right? Failed to stay higher, and it came back down, right? Then you look at this candle, it opens, it pushes down, and you take the puts entry. When this entry triggers, your target is this wick right here, and then this wick right here. And notice how it comes to those wicks. And then you could have even targeted this wick back here, which are same highs. And look at this. So you had target 1, target 2, target 3. Make sense? Does that make sense, y'all? And again, if you guys are brand new to trading, brand new to options and things like that, I have a free Discord. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sending out 1 or 2 free trades to anyone inside of that Discord. And it also will include a free trading course for those of you guys who are just completely brand new. You don't know nothing about stocks. It's 100% free. All you got to do is put your email in. No card information needed. The link is in my bio. Can you go over it again? Yeah. So basically, if you find a trade, let's say we came to the market today, right? Let's just say it looks like this. Let's say, let's just rewind it. Let's rewind it. This is how I will look at this, right? We'll definitely watch the YouTube recording. Dope. Appreciate that, Blaze. So let's say this is how I'm coming into the market, right? So this is how you're going to find your target, right? You found your setup off the 4 hour. Okay, so this is the trade you want to take. You're saying, okay, when the next candle opens and it breaks under, this is the trade I want to take. If you're finding your entry off the 4 hour, your targets have to come off the 4 hour. Does that make sense? Drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense. If you're finding your entry off of the 4 hour, your targets come off the 4 hour. If you're finding your entry off the 6 hour, your targets come off the 6 hour. If you're finding your entry off the 2 hour, your targets come off the 2 hour. Okay? Got it. So here's how you would look at this, right? So you would say, okay, I want to take this failed 2 up because Tez told me that this is faking out bulls, right? Right here. So the bears are in control, but I'm still going to mark out both halves because it's possible that the bulls could step back in and take control and break higher since we are in all-time highs, right? Something you have to think about, okay? So when price breaks under here, this is my puts entry, and then I'm going to look left, right? I'm going to look left for my targets. Well, where's the most nearest lowest wick? Right here. You can use this. Okay. Then you come down here. You can use this. And you can even use this body of this candlestick right here. The only reason I'm not using it is because how close it is to where the entry is. I want to kind of give myself a little bit of room to get a higher risk to reward ratio. Clean camera. What Sony camera? This is a A6400. A6400. Got me? All right, cool. So this is how you guys find your targets. Does that make sense? Hopefully, just drop a yes in the chat if that makes sense for you. Okay, you're just targeting. This is your entry, right? So then someone said, what about the lower time frame? Well, this is how it would look, right? This is exactly how your trade will look. You would mark it out on the 4 hour, and then you could just go down to the 30 minute and wait for it to trigger. When it triggers off the 15 or the 30 minute, you just take the trade. So watch this. Look how clean this looks. Boom. Trade triggers, hits your first target. So target 1 is hit, right? You shave off some of your contracts. So this is another way. Well, you know, someone might say, well, how do I get my first 1K day with a smaller account? Well, you have to buy multiple contracts and leave runners. So what do I mean by that, right? So if you're going to have 3 or 4 price targets, then it will be best for you to have multiple contracts. So here's one of the ways that my mentor taught me. Shout out to Curly K, right? Let's say this is the trade setup you want to take, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 4 contracts, okay? And I'm going to sell my first contract at my first take profit. My first TP zone, so my first target. So I'm going to sell 1 contract here. I'm going to sell my next contract here. And then, you know, you can leave 2 runners if you want to, or you can sell your next 2. You can sell them somewhere down here, right? In these areas, if you decide to let them run. And that's how you maximize your profits on your trades. So you can go into a trade with $200, right? And then you take profits at 50%. Right? Then you take profits at 80%. And then the last 2 contracts just so happen to go 200, 300%. Well, now from $200, you just worked your way up from $200 to now $500. Now imagine you use more money. Stop loss, we size our trades for 0. I size all of my trades for 0. All of my trades are sized for 0. So what does that mean? I go into the trade with an amount of money I'm okay with losing, so I don't have to worry about a stop loss. So I trade my stop loss. And that is how I personally trade. This is how we trade in my group TSA. Yo, shout out to everybody with the gifteds. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, does this make sense? Another thing, right? Watch this, right? So let's go over to QQQ because we were actually watching QQQ today as well. This move right here, I actually missed this whole thing. It definitely caught me by surprise. I personally just wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared how I needed to be. And it's crazy because I knew to take this entry, but I just wasn't prepared. I just didn't do the right thing, right? Like you're going to have times where you're going to be trading and you miss your entry, right? And this is one of those situations where I just wasn't prepared for this trade, right? Okay, so it's the same amount of money you're losing every trade. Yeah, it's based off your portfolio. So like if I'm okay with losing $300, I'll go into the trade with $300. Says the truth, you guys gonna join the TSA school. Got to, man. Shout out to Rap Flow. Anything you guys need from me is always gonna be in the link in my bio. It's always gonna be in the link in my bio. All right. So, where did this happen at? I think was it on SPY actually? Let's look at SPY. No, it was actually on QQQ. All right, so watch this. Another example of me goofing around and missing my setup, right? So let's outline this together. Let's rewind this. Let's come back here like this, okay? Boom. So this is why I love trading the Strat and SMC together. It's just beautiful bread and butter, just beautiful, okay? Beautiful. So how does this work, right? So here, the market gaps up overnight and you come into an order block and we start rejecting the order block, right? But notice down here, you have another order block. So notice how price comes down. It fills the gap from last night that we created, right? This gap right here happened overnight and it fills the gap entirely and then bounces off. So your setup, this is a fail to down, right? So your setup, this is bears were in control. Bulls took back control and is swinging back to the upside. And then, right, you take your calls above here, above 562.14. So watch what happens. Market opens and like this candle, I just wasn't ready for that, right? Like I was just not prepared for that. Just to be completely honest with you, like I hate to make it seem like I just know everything or I'm just the perfect trader or anything like that. I just wasn't prepared for it. Can you describe the Strat in simple terms for me, Brody? So if you have trouble understanding the charts, right? Like if you can't like really read price action on the chart, right? And you know, you've tried multiple different things. The Strat is a simple way to understand candlesticks and price action. So basically what price action is what is the price doing on this particular ticker, right? So for example, this candlestick right here on QQQ, this candlestick is representing something. This candlestick represents something, but most people who don't trade with the Strat, they don't know what they're looking at, to be completely honest with you, especially a lot of beginners. They have no clue what they're looking at. If they see this move, they don't know why it happened. And for the most part, they probably don't have a strategy that will get them in this trade. But because you use the Strat, you know that the Strat and the candlesticks and price action all move in 3 directions, right? The market moves in 3 directions. It makes higher highs, right? Higher highs and higher lows. It makes lower lows and lower highs. And it makes equal highs and equal lows. So what does that mean though? This is all tradingese. This is what we call it in TSA. When you're speaking a completely different language that most people don't know, right? This is why you gotta learn this stuff, right? So basically what this is higher highs is when the market is just pushing higher and higher and higher. Higher highs, higher lows. So the most recent high, right? I could probably just pull up a picture of this on Google. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna minimize this so everyone can see it. Higher high, higher high and higher lows, right? So we'll go over here, we'll grab this image. I know you guys can't see it, but you will be able to in 1 second. All right, so here it is right here. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this in like this so TikTok can see it, and then YouTube and everybody else, you guys should be able to see it. Drop a yes in the chat if you guys can see this. So higher highs, higher lows. So look at this, it makes a move higher, and this low right here is higher than this low. Follow me? It makes another leg higher, it breaks the structure. This high is higher than this high. This low is higher than this low. This is called an uptrend. It's creating higher highs and higher lows. So this is called market structure. You want to understand what direction or what type of trend you're in. So when someone says, follow the trend, if you don't know what follow the trend means, then you probably shouldn't be trading yet, right? Because you got to know what higher highs and higher lows is, okay? In the opposite, right? So let's go back. You want to look at lower lows and lower highs. What the hell just happened? So we'll go back forward, go to images. I don't know why this looks like this now. All right, there we go. Even better example, okay? Tez, you gotta let us know on live when you go on live on TikTok. I ain't see no alerts in the Discord chat. My bad. I honestly, because we do pre-market calls in the Discord, I'll be like, maybe they tired of me, but I need to start alerting it more often. You're definitely right. My apologies. So look, this is a downtrend. This is creating lower lows and lower highs. So look at this high and look at this high. Notice that this high is lower than this high. Okay? This high is lower than this high. This high is lower than this high. And you got to look at your lows. So this low and this low. Well, this low right here is lower than this low. This low down here is lower than this low. So what does this mean though, Tez? How do you put all of this together? Okay. When you're in an uptrend, you look for moves to the upside. You look for these cool off periods to push back higher, right? You look for your entries here so you can ride the wave up. The problem is most people don't understand market structure and they don't understand the strat, right? So what happens is they're trying to short the market here and then they get clapped. You're getting smoked. Now we ain't tired. Right? So what happens is most people are shorting the market because they don't understand market structure. So now you're trying to short the market at these highs, right? And then in reality, it gives you a reversal per the strat. You might get a 2-2 reversal. You might get a failed 2 down, right? And then it swings back in the opposite direction. But because you don't know how to read price action, you don't know how to read these candlesticks, you have no idea why the trade just turned against you. You just thinking it's bad luck. No, it's your lack of understanding of price action. And guess what? I wouldn't say it's your fault, but it's okay. You know what I mean? You're new. You know what I mean? This is why you in here. If you hit the follow button, you'll learn more about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with lower lows, right? If you're in a downtrend, why are you trying to long the market? Why are you trying to take calls when it's clearly showing you it's in a downtrend? It's making lower highs and lower lows. So you should be looking for puts. Where's a good entry for me to get in and short this? Does that make sense? YouTube, we making sense? Twitch, we making sense? TikTok, are we making sense? Everybody, are we making sense? Right? So the key premise of me showing you all of this, right, is because if you don't understand market structure, it's going to be very difficult for you to trade in general, just across anything, futures, options, crypto. It works across all of them. And the reason I use the strat now, so look, now you understand market structure. So now you're getting a little bit more advanced, right? But when you move into the strat, now it's going to start clicking. Here's the thing. The strat allows you to see when reversals are coming, when there's a fake out, when there's volatility, when there's consolidation. You want to know these things because you can take entries off of them, right? So you can find entries off these zones, off these levels, right? So look at this. A failed 2 down is when the bears were in control, the buyers step back in, the bulls step back in, The people who want the market to go higher stepped back in, and it swung the direction of this candle. So at first it opened and it pushed lower, but then the bulls stepped back in and it closed higher. And now guess what? When the market opens, it rips. Like like look at this candle. And then what's even crazier is look at this. Comes straight, like this is like, you gotta really think about this. This is from 562.14 to 565.88. Even off half this move, you're done for the day. Off half the move. This is like, look, we can go to the Discord and I can just show you. This is in the beginning of the day, right? The market hasn't even been open longer than like 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm seeing members, let's see, let's keep scrolling up. As you guys can see, we get a lot of wins. This is nothing new in TSA. Nothing new. All right, so watch this. This is the beginning of today, right? Can everybody see this? Can everybody see this? Drop a yes in the chat if everyone can see this across all platforms. I just want to make sure that when I'm showing this to you guys, you can see everything. Okay. Great. All right, look, at 10K likes on TikTok, if we get to 10,000 likes, I'll give you guys my favorite strat setups to take. The candlesticks that I look for every single time that have just been my personal bread and butter with my personal risk management. At 10K likes, I'll tell y'all my favorite ones so you can look for those ones as well. Okay? So look, this is QQQ. Mind you, so look, this is Nana. I think she's in here right now. Shout out to Nana. This is at 9:46, okay? The market opens at 9:30. This is a 14-minute. This is in 14 minutes. You've already doubled your money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep scrolling lower, you know, shout out to Eddie, 23%. Look at this. This is this is at 9:49, he's at 23%. At 9:57, he's at 84%, right? Nana again caught it for 34%. 123% 5 minutes later on Eddie. So it's like, you know, this is nothing new to us. But again, if you're in here and you're a little bit newer to trading, you know, a lot of this is like, you know, gonna be a little bit of a foreign language. But again, you click the follow button, you take advantage of the free stuff. So all of you guys who are in the TikTok, or if you're on YouTube or anything like that, there's a free Discord in my bio. I'm sending out 1 or 2 free signals tomorrow. It's gonna be based off the strat. What I do plan on doing is this week, I gotta figure out when, but I'm gonna upload a PDF and like a mini guide on the strat. Just cause like a lot of y'all, when y'all come into these streams, like I want y'all to be more educated, cause like my goal is to just build a strong community across all these platforms. So like all the follows and stuff like that, that stuff really helps. But what matters most to me is like when the next time you come back, I don't want you to feel like I'm speaking Tradinese to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I want you to be more educated on this, and I want the quality of the information you have to be better than most people's paid stuff. To be completely honest with you, I want you to be so satisfied with these lives that you share this without me having to ask. You know what I'm saying? You share it to your family member because you're like, yo, this dude right here, he knows what he's talking about. And I don't charge anything. At least for these lives, I don't charge anything for these lives. All right, look, we made it at 10K likes. Okay, cool. So let's go through different scenarios of my favorite setups, my favorite strat setups. Y'all ready? Let me get 50 yeses in the chat. Let me get 50 yeses in the chat, and we're gonna go through it right out the gate. All right. Let's pull up different. Let's pull up different. What is it called? Ticker symbols. So I'm not showing y'all the same thing. Let's look at Robinhood for today. Nope, it's not a clean setup. Actually, it is. Okay, so we'll use this. We will use this. We will rewind this back here. Bada boom, bada bang. This is the trade that I caught for 1,000%. I swung it over the week, so it wasn't overnight technically. 1,000% is 1,000%. You 10x your money, you 10x your money. I don't care. I don't care what nobody say. All right. Do you teach day trading? Yes, inside of my Discord community, we teach everything live. 1, 3, and 3 ones on the 4-hour or higher time frames. Hey, look, I'm about to tell you everything. I'm gonna tell you everything. Trust. All right, so here it is. All right, here's my favorite strat setups. This is what I look for. This is like per my trading this right here, this PDF, this is laminated. If I don't see one of these candlesticks, I don't trade it. If I don't see one of these candlesticks, I don't trade it. These are my rules, right? My trading rules. When I don't follow my trading rules, I force myself to run a mile. This isn't live, right? The market isn't open, no. But this live is live. Whatever. So let's get into it, all right? So my first favorite by far is called a 3-bar, okay? Per the Strat. So the first one that I love the most is a 3-bar. And the numbers work across all time frames, okay? So you don't have to sit here and be like, yo, but will it work for... The Strat works on all time frames. It works on the yearly, it works on the quarter, it works on the month, it works on the week, it works on the day, it works on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 30-minute. It works on all of these time frames. So my favorite one is a 3-bar, right? And the reason this is my favorite is because it's a volatility candle. And a lot of times what will happen with a volatility candle, so let's first break down why this is a 3, right? So remember, in the Strat, the way you read these candlesticks is based off the previous candle. So let's zoom in right here, okay? So do you guys see this high right here on this candle on this wick? And do you guys see this low on this candle on this wick? Comment yes if you guys can see these. This high and then this low. Comment yes down below if you can see this. Okay. So the reason this is a 3, this candle right here, this purple one, the reason this is a 3 is because this candle came down and broke this side of this candle, and then it swung back through and it broke this side of the candle. This is what makes it a 3. It is a volatility candle. You broke to the downside and then you came right back up to take out the other side of the candle. This is a strong move, right? This is why this is my favorite. It's a volatility candle and you're looking for a directional move. And I'm gonna give y'all multiple examples of why this is my favorite and how consistent it is. So that way you know, like, I'm not just saying it, you can see it on the chart and you can take it yourself. Okay, you can take it yourself. So watch this. The way you trade this though, okay? So let's say you see the 3-bar. Let's say you're using Strat Assistant, okay? Again, the indicator, you guys can download. It's free on TradingView. So let's just say you have it set up and you're looking for 3s, right? You see a 3-bar, right? The second part of this criteria, right, is it has to be in a clear uptrend or downtrend, all right? The market structure has to be in a clear uptrend or a downtrend. So what do I mean? It's creating higher high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? I need to see this before I just take a 3-bar. You can't take all 3s. You have to take a 3 that is in an uptrend or in a downtrend. I don't want to take a 3-bar in consolidation because you can get chopped up, right? This is how people contracts get smoked. You got to remember, theta is a thing. How many of you guys know what the Greeks are? Bro, the market fluctuates. There's no way for you to know 100% where the market will go. I don't know 100%, right? Like, that's the thing. I don't know. And I never said I did. I size my trades for 0 and it either works or it doesn't work. It's that simple. Okay? So, watch this. When this candle like this, which is in an uptrend, prints a 3-bar, right? Look what happens. The market opens. And notice how this is a strong move up, right? This is a $3.50 move at open. This is a 3-2. So let's look at multiple examples then. I want y'all to drop a ticker down below, and I bet money, I can go to any ticker you send me, right? It has to be on the stock market, right? Send me any ticker you want, any ticker, and I'm gonna show you a 3-bar that has worked out. All right, so look, IWM. So you can't tell me this right here. Look, I'm gonna turn off Lux Algo. I'm gonna take the tickers that y'all send me so y'all can see for yourself. It's not just one ticker, right? Look at this. A 3-bar. High, low. It breaks the low. Look at the move it makes. So it worked here, right? In this scenario, right? Now, again, here's the one thing. Nothing works 100% of the time, right? It never works 100% of the time. What I'm doing is, oh my God, please tell me. Hold on. Oh, that's why I'm like, bro, I had broke my chart yesterday and it took like ChatGPT to come fix it and all types of crazy stuff. All right. So we're looking at another 3-bar, right? So this is on Nike. So, excuse me. Look at this. 3-bar. 3, 2 down, retest the same level, 2 back down, right? It works so very well on the Mag 7 too. So if you go over to something like an AMD, watch this. Look, 3, 2, 2 up. This is a fail 2. Next candle fakes out the sellers, right? Because this is a fake out, right? Fakes out the sellers, pushes back higher, pushes into a trend, right? 3, 1, 2. These are all setups as well. So this is my first one. A little late here. If you don't know where the market is going to go 100%, what makes you eligible to teach others? Do you know where the market is going 100%? Name me one person who knows 100% where the market is going to go. Any person, right? Any person who says they know exactly where the market is going 100% is selling you a course or selling you something, right? So here's the thing. If you knew exactly where the market was going every time, right? How do you lose trades then? If you know where the market is going every time, how do you lose trades? You will be 100% from the field. Name me one person who has 100% win rate, has won every single trade they've ever taken. Name me one person who has 100% win rate. You would be the richest man. You would full port every trade. If I knew exactly where the market was going every single trade, I am full porting every single trade. Why would I not? Y'all keep saying Q Banks. Shout out to Q Banks. But there's I've watched his YouTube videos. There's literal trades where he has lost trades. He'll tell you that. Right? So let's keep moving forward because I'll be getting distracted with people in the chat. Here's one thing. Look, anytime somebody come in here talking crazy, you just move this over to the right and you ask them where they at this month. I'm at 56K this month. If you join the live and you show me where, if you have higher than this, I'll send you $1,000. If you can show me that you're more qualified than me to teach, I'll send you $1,000 right now. But what do I know? The indicator. I keep telling y'all it's called the Strat Assistant. Strat Assistant right here. Oh shit, y'all can't see it. That's why. I'm sorry, YouTube can see it, but y'all can't see it. I gotta minimize this. Here it is right here, y'all, for TikTok. Strat Assistant. Okay. Strat Assistant. Ricky Z. Carroll. That is the person you guys want to go through. All right. All right. What was another ticker? Somebody said UNH, right? UNH has 3 bars very often. Look at this. In the middle of a day. 3. Goes 3, 2, 2, 2 continuation. It's called the 4 horsemen. It's a continuation trade. SPX. SPX does it very often as well, right? What time frame am I on? 30 minute. So watch this. 3 bar. This candle didn't open. 2, 2 continuation. This is a gap up. So let's go to a better example. Look at this. 3 bar on SPX. This move from 61.91 to this high to 62.05. So if you trade SPX, you know, if you catch a $10, $20 move, that's a pretty nice payout. That's a pretty nice payout. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I like the strat. Look at this. This is an even better example. Again, this works on all time frames. Look, you have a 3-bar. When it goes 3-2, look at the continuation. You catch a move like this. This is a what? A $50 move? It's a $50 move on same day contracts. What? Okay, so that's the first strat setup that I like to take. Okay, the next one is a failed 2. Okay, it's either a failed 2 up or a failed 2 down. And the reason I like doing this is because you're trapping one side of the market, right? You're trapping either bears or you're trapping the bulls. That is why I like failed 2s. So if we come back over to something like IWM, right, and we go ahead and open the chart back up. Was it on IWM or was it on, I think it was QQQ. Yeah. Come over here. Okay, so look. Failed 2 down, 2 up. So you fake out the bears, take out the other side of the candles, or take out the other side of this candle here too. 2 back up, right? Let's go to other examples of a failed 2. This is super volatile day. Even this though, I mean, you could technically use this, but it chopped up that day, so we're not going to use that. It's not a good example. And again, like I said, nothing works 100% of the time. Look at this. This is a failed 2 down. Actually, I'll go to a higher time frame. It'll look a little bit cleaner on a higher time frame. So look at this. This is a failed 2 down. It breaks and then it continues. 3-2-2, right? 3-bar, 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 right? Same stuff. 3-bar. Failed 2 up, failed 2 down, consolidation, sells off. 3-2 down, 2 back up. That's a reversal setup. 3-2-2. So these are my favorites. These are my 2 favorites. Failed 2s, 3s, and I also like 3-1s. Yeah, those are my favorites though. Those are like the ones I go to. How would you know if a 3 is a call or a put? Well, what you would do is you would look at the candle and you will look at the outside of the candle. So this purple candle right here, it has a red wick. So this is a bearish 3-bar. If it had a green wick like this, or if it had a green outline, this is a bullish 3-bar. That's how you know the difference. Does that make sense? That should make sense a little bit more at least. Okay, so the thing is, when you're trying to have your first 1K day, right, like you gotta focus on repetition. You gotta focus on just taking more reps, right? So like a lot of the times, you know, when I tell people I compound my account, or like the way I grow my account is just through compounding it, taking the same trades with the same amount of size consistently, and learning from each mistake and coming back the next day and getting better and better and better, and just knowing that you're gonna take L's in this game. Like it's no way possible you're gonna have a 100% win rate. It's never ever gonna be possible. You got to remember, the stock market and the market itself is based off all types of people across the world clicking buy and sell based off their own bias in the market. That's why they're clicking it, and they all feel like they're right, because they're putting money behind it, right? So there's no person who can ever be 100% trading, because it's too sporadic from a standpoint of like all these individuals across the world, millions and millions of people are putting millions and millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever, on either calls or puts, or buys or sells, you know what I mean, or longs or shorts. So there's never going to be a time where you can be 100%. The only thing you can do is practice proper risk management, right? And size your trades for 0 and let them play out. Could you show real quick how to do the broadening formations? I don't want to do that because a lot of these people in this live, that would just overcomplicate everything for them. If you guys want like more advanced stuff like that, I would recommend being in TSA, because that's where like the more advanced talk comes in. But a lot of the traders on across all these platforms are like, I wouldn't even say beginners, but like they're new to the strat. So me breaking down broad informations is just really advanced, and I don't think most people would understand it. I don't do options, so I'm new to this. What's puts and calls? So think of it like this. If you're trading options, right, and someone says, I'm taking a call. Well, when you take a call, your hand is like this. So you're betting on the stock to go up, right? So you're going long on the trade if you trade something else, right? Or you're clicking buy on it, right? Puts, imagine putting the phone down, right? So you're shorting it, right? Or you're betting that the stock or the ticker goes down. So that's the difference between calls and puts. So if you're thinking price is bullish and you think it's going to break out, you would take calls. If you think the price is bearish and you think it's going to go back into a downtrend, you would take puts. Strat cheat sheet. I'm going to put one inside the free Discord. Who was your mentor? iCurlyK, JR Greatness. I had a few different ones years ago with long-term investing. Like I told y'all, like options trading is great. My strong suit is swinging shares. Do you post videos on YouTube, and what's the name? Yes, Dantes Akram on YouTube. You guys can check me out there. That is where this live stream right now. So I'm streaming all of this live. It's going to be posted to YouTube, so you guys can go back and rewatch this and clip it and do whatever you want to do. I'm also streaming on Twitch as well, so you guys can, feel free to, utilize any platform that you prefer. I'm just streaming across all of them to, make sure I'm helping all those people who like all these different platforms. You have a platform you can go to. Is $50 profit a day for a beginner good? Yeah. Bro, you don't think of it like comparing it to what other people are doing. Like if you want to make a lot of money in this game, you got to like really just, there's no traffic in your lane, right? So if you're making $50 a day, bro, that's amazing, because you got to think the days where you weren't making $50 a day. You know what I mean? And you'll grow. It's just take repetition. You know what I'm saying? You got to put more hours in, more work in. You know what I mean? Let's see here. I just deleted all. I'll have to redraw this anyways. Actually, no, I didn't. Okay, cool. This is actually up to date. And are you completely trading options contracts, or do you invest in certain things long term? Yeah, I'm a Bitcoin maxi as well. What are swinging shares, brother? It's when you buy like a bulk amount of shares and you swing them. You basically hold them for a certain period of time before closing out for a profit or a loss, depending on which side of your target gets hit first. You do trend lines too? Nah, I trade the Strat and I trade Smart Money Concepts, SMC. So order blocks, gaps, all that good schnazzle. What site or app do you use? This is TradingView. Again, if you guys have no idea what apps to use, what platforms to use, all that stuff, just click the link in my bio. There's a free Discord in there. It'll break down all these platforms and you can use all of them. And it'll also explain calls, puts, stock market as a whole, all that. Are you completely trading option contracts, or do you? Yeah. I just answered that one. So can I ask you something? Should I stick with what I'm doing now? Wait until I get a couple more? Couple more what? The Discord is asked for credit card information. You have to go through the other link. That is the paid Discord. If you want the free one is the second option in my bio. How long can you be in a trade? Depends on the expiration of the contracts. So if you take a contract and it expires Friday, you have until Friday to be in that trade, or it'll expire. Word of advice for any new trader: money is simply a byproduct of mastering the skill. 100%. It is a byproduct of repetition. The more consistent you get with looking at the charts and studying the charts and understanding the setups and taking the setups and losing on the setups and winning on the setups, and most importantly, like writing down everything that is going on in your mind with your emotions, why you took the trade, like just journaling in general. Money will be a byproduct of doing all of that for a long period of time. The most amount of progress I've gotten is from journaling, 100%, because I noticed that a lot of the things that I want or that I need to spot out is coming from in here. And until you start writing it down, you won't know what to fix. Yo, Willie, thank you for the sub, bro. I appreciate it, fam. Do you trade with Playbit? Nah, I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. All right, guys. Do you guys feel like y'all learned something today? Do you guys feel like you feel a little bit more confident in understanding strat setups, just reading the strat, understanding the strat, looking at options, looking at the charts? Do you guys feel like I feel a little bit more comfortable? Do you guys feel like I dropped maybe 1 or 2 things that you learned? Like I dropped 1 or 2 things that you learned from this live. Let me know down below. Do you trade ETH? Nah. Yes, but I think I joined late. So yeah, this whole thing was recorded, so y'all can watch this all on YouTube. Just check out Dantes Akram on YouTube. You explained a bunch of terms I didn't know, which really helped. That's dope. Wasn't here for the whole stream, but you gained a follower, brother. Yo, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So look, if you feel like you learned something, if you feel like, you know what I'm saying, I made things a little bit clearer for you, a little bit easier for you, be sure to hit the follow button so you can catch the next live. I'm going to be uploading a live schedule. I'm probably going to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe Sundays, or every other Sunday. I'll see what makes the most sense for me. Because I actually like doing these, but I want to do it when I feel like doing it or when I feel like it's going to be fun to me. I don't want to do it because I feel like I have to do it or anything like that, because I really don't have to do any of this. But make sure you guys hit the follow button so you guys don't miss them. Another thing, again, like I said, the link is in my bio for a free Discord. Tomorrow I'm sending out 1 or 2 free signals that y'all can take for this week. Trading signals. So it'll be like, hey, get in here, get out here. If you want that, it's a free link in my bio. You guys can check out. Do you also do one-on-one calls, brother? I don't, bro. The reason I don't do them, I'll do them for members in my group and like my paid group if they absolutely need it. But like, I just feel like most people aren't serious, and my time is so valuable to me. I don't think there's an amount of money that someone could pay me for one-on-one at this point, unless I really want to do it. Like, if there's a person I just know for a fact it'll be a quick turnaround, like I've had situations like that, then I'll work with them because I know they're serious. But like, other than that, I really don't like doing one-on-ones because most people just gonna waste their time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to be completely honest with you, I don't need the money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you make money from the skill, you rely less on making money from teaching people the skill. So it's like, I don't need the money to do a one-on-one or anything like that. But yeah, that's my main reason why I don't do them. Do you trade retest or just enter as is? I'll enter as is, and I size for 0, so it either works or it doesn't. Diggy Block, yo, appreciate the the sub on YouTube, bro. Appreciate you, fam. Just because you said that, I know you delegate your time wisely enough to not need more bread. Yeah, bro, like I'm a dad too, so it's like, you know, I have a lot of stuff going on. I do brand deals, I have a community, like I have so many other things going on. Squeeze on a one-on-one is not even possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love y'all. I love you. But these live streams, you should come in here, ask everything you can, get the amount of help you can. If you feel like you still need more help directly from me, then you join the Discord. Other than that, I can't do a one-on-one. I'm sorry. About to put your YouTube on the 85-inch TV and spend all night watching your vids. Yo, thank you, bro. Shout out to Josh. I appreciate that. How much is advisable to start with? I save like $500 to $1,000. What does size for 0 mean? You go into the trade with an amount of money you're okay with losing. So if you have a stop loss normally, let's say you trade Spire, so the trade either works or it doesn't. It's the same thing as having a stop loss, but you give yourself time for the trade to play out in your favor. Do you recommend TradingView as a beginner? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I absolutely do. Must. Absolute must. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on YouTube. Under my live section, this will be broadcasted as how to make your first 1K in a day trading options. So if you guys want to go back and rewatch this, you can feel free to go over to my YouTube at Dantes Akram, or just click the link in my bio. You guys can find that in there. Second, like I said, the link is in my bio for the free Discord group. So if you guys want access to like 1 or 2 trading signals for tomorrow, just join that. And then there's the paid group as well. I'm not even gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If you want more help, you go there. But yeah, hit the follow button here so that way you don't miss another live. You'll get the notification for it, I think, if they even do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed it, go back and rewatch it on YouTube if you missed anything. And other than that,